advice for first-year teachers from the perspective of teaching at the secondary level. So if you're elementary, this might be handy, but this is more so focused from my experience teaching high school for the last 7 years. So first thing I think is, kind of obvious, but I was fortunate that when I got hired in at my school, it was with a group. There's about 6 or so of us that all got hired in at that same time, and for multiple of us, it was our first job ever out of college. One of them was teaching the exact same content as me, and her room was right next door, so that really helped a lot, is not feeling alone. But the first thing is just ask for help. No one, at least if they're a nice person, no one expects you to be an expert, especially in your first year. They themselves, probably as a veteran teacher, speaking from somewhat experience, they're probably still figuring it out themselves. They're making changes year after year. I know coworkers of mine who are close to retirement. They'll ask me for help sometimes. I'll ask them for help. I see them in there bright and early. I see them making changes year from year. So don't be afraid to ask for help. You're not supposed to know everything your first year, and hopefully you have a good admin who understands that and encourages you to just, be calm. Like, it's okay to not know everything, and it's definitely okay to not be perfect every single day, because that's just not realistic. A lot of variables are involved in our job of teaching, so you just got to be kind of patient with yourself. But if you can kind of find a group, or at least a mentor, you should, at least where I'm at, maybe be assigned somebody in your department. If you get a mentor, if you find a group of people, have a group chat with your coworkers, or have a coworker that you kind of lean on for. It could be, content related questions. It could be, how do I do the grade book? Or who do I go to when my projector dies on me? Or who do I go to for this technology issue? There's going to be so many things that pop up that you maybe didn't have to deal with in your student teaching, that it's really important to have somebody to kind of guide you through those things. And if they don't know, again, that kind of proves the point. Like, hey, somebody who's even been here, maybe they don't have the answers, but let's go ahead and ask somebody else. So definitely lean on coworkers, your admin, as much as you possibly can. You do not want to be doing this all on your own, because it will be so overwhelming if you approach it that way. Next one is be patient. So kind of along those same lines, I remember my principal, I absolutely adore her, basically said to me, she goes, you do not want to have every unit perfect your first year. She's like, don't strive for that, because again, you will completely overwhelm yourself. So, pick year after year some changes you want to make, and just be patient with yourself that you're figuring stuff out, especially for like your specific group of students. Do they do better with simulations? Do they do better with group work, independent work, jigsaw, like all this kind of stuff? You're always going to make changes for the rest of your career. So don't think that you have to have your curriculum, all your activities, everything set in stone for that entire school year, year one. My principal said, just shoot for perfecting one unit at a time, or perfecting one unit for that semester. I have classes that switch semester, and she's like, you know what? Have one awesome, great, perfect unit that you think you have perfected by the end of first semester with civics, and then when we get into econ second semester and you leave second semester, have at least one unit that you feel like, you really fine-tuned, you like where it's at. Obviously, you can make changes, but just be patient. You're not going to have everything perfect year one. This goes with the idea of organization, which I'm kind of like a type B person, but if you use Google Classroom, which is what I use at my school, every single day I make a post, I say what we're doing, I have attachments on that, all that stuff. What I've come to find is that works really well for the following year. So when your classes are done for the year, let's say you have 5 hours, like I have 5 hours, I don't go through and permanently delete all of those. I will keep one civics, one econ, and one of my US history Google Classrooms in kind of like, not archived, because then you can't get to archived, whatever. You can't get to it, but kind of keep it open, kick everybody out, and then I relabel it to say old US history or the previous school year, US history, civics, and econ. So then what I'll do the next year is I can go back to that, and it kind of works as a planner in a way. It works for me better than like a paper planner going back to that binder or that book from the previous year. And you can also reuse it from the previous year to your current year. So let's say I wanted to do my first day of school activities. with my new classes, as I will in a month or so, I could say, okay, what did I do in U.S. history on the first day last year? I could reuse that post and just make some changes to it, make some edits to it. So you don't have to start from scratch every single post. So I would definitely, at the end of like your content, at the end of the semester or end of the year, depending on what you're teaching, definitely keep your Google Classroom at least one of each version of whatever classes you're teaching so that you can use it next year to fall back on, so you know, like, oh, by January 30th or whatever, this is where I was, or this is how much I had covered, or I was testing by now. It's really, really great to kind of compare pacing in that way as well. If you're middle school or high school, get ZipGrade. Those bubble sheets are super easy to kind of print up, set up, whatever. But then you put it on your phone and it literally, like 2 seconds, it just takes a picture, grades the test for you. It's awesome. So don't sit and hand grade everything and spend forever doing that. It's not worth it. Obviously the written stuff will be a little bit different, but if you have bubble sheet type multiple choice stuff, get ZipGrade. Next one, keep a paper copy of everything. So I have kids with Chromebooks. A lot of them still prefer to do paper copies. Usually what I'll do is I'll make exactly how many copies I need based on the students in the classes, plus 1. Or 2, depending on if I'm going to do like a key with them. And then I make a key. I always put that key, after I filled it out for the year, into my folder for that class. And then I also make sure I take that extra that should be left over after students grab their copies, if that's what they choose. I take that extra and I also put that in the folder, because something happened, for example, this previous school year, first couple weeks of school, all of a sudden I can't access like any of my folders, any of my documents from the previous school year, couldn't find them, couldn't locate them, it wasn't working, and I'm sitting there going, oh shoot. So if you have at least one paper copy of the empty version and a key version, that really sets you up for being able to make copies just in case the internet goes out or whatever the case might be. It's just always good to have those on hand ready to go as well. It's okay that sometimes you're literally going to be going one day at a time. I've had multiple times, and like even just this past year, my 7th year teaching, I've had multiple times where kids go, what are we doing such and such a day? And I'm like, I don't even know what we're doing tomorrow, dude. Like, I'm still trying to figure it out. It's okay to not be planned out for a month or planned out for 2 weeks at a time. Sure, that's great if you're able to do it without, killing yourself and working a bunch of unpaid hours. You do you, if that, keeps you at ease. It's okay to take one day at a time. It's okay to just kind of figure it out as you go. Again, lean on other people. Say, what do you do for this activity? Or how do you approach this? Or how do you cover this content? And just, again, be patient with yourself. And I'm sure you'll be fine.